We're here at the IAS meeting in Kuala Lumpur. We're here with Marc Lallemant, and we are pleased to have him representing DNDi, and we're going to now learn about DNDi, and you can kind of give us a little background.
So DNDi is a non-for-profit research and development organization. It was created by MSF actually more than 10 years ago to develop drugs for people for whom nobody developed drugs, where there's no market and pharmaceutical companies are not interested. So the NDI has been working on sleeping sickness, visceral leishmaniasis, malaria, and 2 years ago decided to move into pediatric HIV because paradoxically, even though there is a tremendous interest on HIV and on pediatric HIV, there is very little pharmaceutical development for pediatric HIV. We need formulations.
And when you say development of drugs for pediatric AIDS and HIV, do you mean like formulation or reformulation?
Yeah, for us,
right.
It really means short-term program of reformulating or formulating known antiretroviral drugs, but in a way
so
which
that they're sustainable and do not break down over time and have shelf life.
Are not toxic.
Do you do anything about taste?
And yes, because so there are two or three projects, three objectives. One is to develop a fixed dose combination of lopinavir, ritonavir, abacavir, 3TC, all 4-in-1. A second fixed dose combination of AZT, 3TC, lopinavir, ritonavir. And the third product would be additional ritonavir to super boost in case of TB HIV co-infection, because when you treat both TB and HIV, the TB treatment interacts with the HIV drugs.
So you want to have the right doses based upon that other treatment.
Exactly.
So how do you do that? Are you putting this, because first of all I know that normally you have a lot of excipients in drugs, but when you just have the active ingredient, you can make it smaller of a pill. But the biggest is the pill burden, the size of the pill for kids, or do you have this in a gel formulation, or how is it?
So the idea is to make it as granules.
Oh, okay.
The lopinavir, ritonavir molecules are insoluble. So if you want them to be absorbed, they have to be of some kind of solution. And this is the solution, if I may say, that Abbott has found for their pediatric formulation. 45% alcohol, 15% propylene glycol. So it's a very toxic.
It's like drinking gasoline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you get around that?
So we do a solution, we make a solution, but it's a solid solution. So the molecules of lopinavir are trapped in the excipient, in a polymer, which is heated, and it's like a solution, but except that it's a solid solution which is pH dependent, so that it is insoluble when you are in water or in milk, no taste.
A little bit of acid in it.
And then it dissolves,
yeah,
which is the concept, yeah.
So is this anything like the Meltrex formulation?
It's a Meltrex technology, but not using the same ingredients used by AbbVie. Yeah.
Well, the thing that we should probably say to the public is that, or the viewers, is that the Meltrex formulation came about because the Abbott drug was just terrible. It tasted terrible. And of course they put it in gel, I guess in kind of some sort of a capsule.
Yeah.
And then, but after that, then they realized that, I guess, that they needed to be a little more stable. And so this Meltrex formulation made that work. But they were a little bit delayed on coming out with that in just the Norvir alone. Lopinavir came out first.
And the problem with this is that it's very good for adults and older children, but if you crush these tablets, you lose 50% of the bioavailability. So you cannot say, I'm going to crush this and give this to small children.
Mm-hmm.
The problem today with the new guidelines, which were released 2 days ago, is that the preferred, the recommended treatment for young infants, infants and young children less than 3, is to use lopinavir-ritonavir-based treatments because they are more efficacious. The problem is that it's extremely difficult to do outside a very developed countries like South Africa. But if you are out of South Africa, it's going to be extremely difficult to implement this new recommendation. So this is why we are under enormous pressure to go fast with the new formulation that we are developing. And actually,
and this fixed dose four drug combination, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the molecules are all equally dispersed within this. How do you scoop them out? And
So it will be presented in capsules,
Okay.
which are meant to be opened.
okay.
And the mother will, if the child is very small, then she can put it in the mouth of the child and put the
But
child.
the whole capsule is a complete
content.
fixed dose.
Yeah,
It's a
the
fixed
4-in-1 is you have the granules of lopinavir-ritonavir and the granules of NRTIs, which could be abacavir 3TC or AZT 3TC.
So it's a regular capsule that you would just kind of pop apart,
Yeah,
take it apart, and then dump them in something.
in food, on food.
Okay, food.
Not acid food, because if it's acidic, then the taste
Right,
will come
before
out.
it gets into the mouth, yeah.
Yeah,
Something
so you want,
yes.
but which is standard. I mean, normally food for children are not
Yeah.
acidic, except yogurt, for example. You may not want to do that, but usual infant food would be fine.
So it's heat stable and has a shelf life
We hope for at least 2 years
in the capsule.
in the capsule,
When it's
in
and
the
then when
bottle.
you open it up, you really are meant to use it right away.
Yeah, yeah.
So are there any other concerns? I mean, you have heat stability, you have moisture, humidity, you have cold. Sometimes can affect things, but this doesn't.
So the main concerns are really, when you think about that and the situation today, storage, shipment. You know, today you have to have a fridge to store lopinavir. So
and
here
that's
you don't.
not required.
No, and you don't need to mix the liquid with liquid or liquid with dispersible tablets. You have everything in one single capsule. So you would give 2 capsules to a child, 5 kilos, for example, in the morning, in the evening. And the taste concern is totally removed. We have a sweet. It's a sweet taste. It will taste whatever you put, the food you put in it.
So how do you titrate this based upon the weight of the child?
Yeah, so it will follow exactly the WHO weight band dosing. The capsules contain 40 milligram of lopinavir, 10 milligram of ritonavir, and the NRTIs, and you will follow exactly the recommendations of the dosing, the weight band dosing of WHO, 3 to 6, 6 to 10, 10 to 14, 14 to 20.
Now, where are you in the development of this?
So we are at the moment we are verifying the pharmacology, the bioavailability of the lopinavir component, because for the AZT and abacavir there is no question of bioavailability. So we are verifying that now. We hope to start the first pediatric study in September, and the bigger clinical trials in April.
And this will be what was this like a phase 4 trial?
Yeah, the phase 3.
Phase 3?
2-3.
2-3.
But it will all depend on the bioequivalence between the lopinavir-ritonavir component, granules, and the liquid.
So what is the trial? Is it comparing it with the original?
Yeah.
With the now new formulation?
Yes.
Who is
in
making
both adults and children.
And who is making so it's adults as well?
We do the first study in adults because we don't want
gotcha.
to. And then as soon as we know that in adults we have no dosing issue, then we will start for children.
So when do you, how do you, who's making this?
Cipla is our, our partner for manufacturing and for development. I mean, the test masking is their doing. I mean, we work together, but this is their doing. And
they will produce the product when it becomes available in the market. And so
yeah.
So what are the challenges you're facing on this right now? Are there any?
There will be possibly IP issues to resolve. We are very optimistic about this because we believe that the pediatric market is so small that there is absolutely no gain to make. So there is nothing to protect, really.
By the IP, you mean intellectual properties?
Yeah. For example, in some countries, in order to work, to do studies, like in South Africa, Brazil, Thailand, we would need to have permission to do that by the originator company. We are in talking, and I'm very optimistic that it will come out.
And where are the studies being done?
So today, the pediatric study, the first pediatric study, will be done in Uganda as a follow-up of a study which was done last year, to which we participated. Actually, the NDI participated. So it will be done in young children, 0 to 4 or 5 years of age. That will be done in September, and the first big industrial batch of the 4-in-1 will be prepared in December, and so we will be able to roll out this in clinical studies, which may not be very complex studies, but studies very important for us to learn how to use this new product. For example, mothers will need to learn how to open the capsule, what quantity, what type of food they can use. And this is something that only the mothers can teach us.
Right.
So we need to do these studies. And
application.
Exactly. And we need to do that in many countries, because we know that even though we will seek approval by FDA and WHO, we will need also we will need to be approved in each country, and it will need to be in the country guidelines and in the recommendations of the program. So this is some work which clearly requires also specific studies to explain, to promote, and to learn from.
Are you working with any organizations to help you along with that, advocate organizations? So as far as development and so forth, to kind of like, I mean, usually I like to see community involved with, in a way. I'm sure you have some community input.
So we have, of course, we have the big MSF network, of course, the Access Campaign and the colleagues from MSF who are with us. And also organizations like TAC in South Africa are following this very, very closely, because they have, of course, it's in their radar. And we have also the academic networks, the networks of pediatric clinical research, like PANTA, Pediatric European Network, Clinical Trials on AIDS, and IMPACT, the American.
Do you work with the Elizabeth Glaser Foundation at all?
Elizabeth Glaser is a natural partner because they are all over Africa. They have done a lot on PMTCT, educating, and yes, we will partner with them too, and with PEPFAR, because also it's the same group of people who want to get this treatment in the hands of the mothers.
Well, this is exciting because it is important to have the next generations of drugs available, and to have this go forward in such a way. I mean, 4-drug combos are really an ideal way to go for, and especially the way you're approaching it seems like a great idea. Look forward to the evolution of this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.